look, I was a lefty for sure. I was a progressive. I was a Bernie supporter. You know, I worked for the Young Turks Network. You can find videos of me supporting Bernie Sanders. You know, woke at that time wasn't fully a thing. Identity politics, say 5 years ago, where now we all sort of understand what it is and that it's infecting virtually everything, and this obsession with race and all of our immutable characteristics, which it's just so dangerous and anti-American in so many ways. That was just sort of starting. So I would say I was a progressive in that I believed in those economic policies, I believed in those foreign policies, things of that nature. The wokeism part of it was just starting, the obsession with race and things like that. So I don't know that I was ever fully woke like that, but I certainly was a lefty. And then when I started saying, hey, we lefties, let's stop calling everybody racist. Let's try not to impugn motives. Let's try to agree to disagree or put our hand across the table and see what happens. All I got was hate from the left. And then the bizarre part, of course, was that all I got was a handout from the right saying, hey, we're over here. You want to talk to us? And then fairly quickly I realized that these were not people that were as bad as I had been led to believe.
Well, and so I can't help but think back, you know, I'm sure you've discussed this probably 1,000 times over the past few years, but I was just talking about it with someone earlier today. This sort of the moment that you decided to keep on your show where you actually have Larry Elder.
Yeah.
Funny that you mention him, right? And he challenges you on systemic racism and you realize I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
So this was a pivotal moment?
Oh, it was really the sort of clincher in many ways. I talk about in Don't Burn this book that I had several other awakenings over the course of a couple of years. There were several other moments that I thought something's not right with the left, and I had sort of been piecing it all together. And then I did this sit down with Larry, and I still considered myself of the left. You can watch videos that I was doing. They're on YouTube still, where I was talking about, you know, again, we the lefties have to fix liberalism. We have to stop acting so illiberally. This has nothing to do with the liberalism that I know, the JFK liberalism, what's happening to this. And then I sat down with Larry, and he was one of the first really sort of tried and true, I would say, I was going to say conservatives, but he's really more of a small L libertarian to conservative, something in there, but certainly not a lefty, let's put it that way. And I sat down with him and I treated him exactly how I would treat all my guests, which is what I always do, which is the same way you do it, with a decent amount of respect and an open mind and a hope that there's going to be some sort of interesting discourse. And I said to him, you know, most people have seen this already because it's gone viral so many times, but in essence I said, well, tell me about systemic racism. And I think what lefties often do is you say something, and just by the nature of you saying it, you think it means it's true. And Larry just flipped it on its head, and he started rifling off statistics about police brutality and affirmative action and the black family and a whole series of other things. And what became such a meme-worthy moment was that I really listened to him. I was sort of not ready to be in that fight because I wasn't armed with facts, he was. And then subsequently, I went on my own journey. I went down that path to see where that path would lead. And I went from, okay, I talked to Larry Elder. Well, maybe I could talk to that Ben Shapiro guy now. And maybe I could talk to Dennis Prager and Glenn Beck. And before I realized it, I go, well, these guys aren't that bad. They know what they think and why they think about it. They think about life seriously, and I may have some political differences with them, but they relish in that. So that's why the moment, I think, became so important, and it has caused so many other people to wake up because they got to see me do it in real time.
Why is it, do you think, that folks aren't willing to do the listening that you did? I mean, folks in the same, maybe a similar position, or are they in a similar position? I don't know.
I think some people are willing to, you know, unfortunately politics has become so frayed and it's so everywhere now. It's infected everything. You turn on a comedy show, it's political. You turn on ESPN, it's political. Politics is just everywhere, which is, to me, a sign of something that's very unhealthy in the system. A good political system, you wouldn't have to talk about it that often because it wouldn't be affecting your daily life very much. That's what's so dangerous about this last year and a half, is that we already had big government in America. Now we have governments that can, you know, say you're going to lock down and stay in your house. We're going to give you more money not to work, et cetera, et cetera. So government has gotten bigger in all of this. It looms larger in all of our lives. Every late night show, it's politics 24/7. I think a lot of people are willing to listen. I think that it's a little bit of chicken and egg. Maybe there weren't enough hosts that were willing to have a humble moment, and for whatever reason, I was willing to do that.
I think it's very rare for most hosts to have humble moments. I mean, that's I haven't seen many. I think that's one of the reasons why it got so much play, right?
I suppose that that is true. You know, I was a player in that play, so it's hard for me to analyze it in that regard. But I just did what I thought was right. That really is the truth. When I went back into the control room and I discussed it with my guys, and immediately the producer said, "Oh, we'll cut it. Don't worry about it. We're not going to leave it in." And I just said, "No, if this is what I'm doing as a living, if I believe in open discourse, if I really want to hear what people think, well, then I can't take out the parts where people know something more than I do and are more aware of what's going on and remove statistics. If it had been a personal fight, if he had said something personally attacking me, then maybe we would have edited it, but probably not that too. But in this case, I thought that was the real moment. So if you're going to take the real moment out, well, then what are you doing really? You know, if we had hopefully people will watch this and feel that there's something enlightening here, something worth listening to, etc. But if there was really like a great 2-minute riff that I went on that for whatever reason happened to go against whatever your political beliefs might be. And by the way, I think you're a pretty decent interviewer because I'm not that well versed in all of your beliefs. You strike me as someone that's curious and honest and wants to have a conversation, which is what an interviewer is supposed to do. But if there was a moment where I just went on a 2-minute riff that was really counter to what you believe, I suspect you would leave it in. And I guess that's what we need more of. Why more people aren't open to it? It's partly humility on the behalf of the host, and then it's just the general sort of hyper-partisan political thing where everyone wants to be right all the time. Nobody ever wants to be seen as wrong or mistaken, and we're humans. Sometimes we're wrong and mistaken.